So we jumped in a cab. She called Yasmin and the assistant Molly, and Yasmin didn't know what was going on because it went to voicemail on Pac's phone.
When the footage first hit the internet, nobody believed it was real. Tupac Shakur has been the center of countless theories for nearly 3 decades, but actual funeral footage is something nobody ever expected to see. The clip spread like wildfire, posted on underground forums, leaked through anonymous accounts, and shared faster than platforms could take it down. For years, fans have only had police reports, vague eyewitness testimonies, and old interviews. But now, a grainy, silent video supposedly showing Tupac's body lying in a funeral home has ignited one of the wildest cultural debates hip-hop has seen in years. And the reason it hit so hard? Because for the first time, people believe they are seeing something that breaks the mystery wide open. The footage itself is short, less than a minute, but every frame has been paused, zoomed in, re-uploaded, analyzed, and argued over by millions.
His right lung was shot out, so we had to remove his right lung. And for the next 12 hours, he's going to go through a series of reparative operations.
The lighting, the face details, the tattoos, the angle of the body, the outfit, everything has been inspected like it's a historic artifact. But what makes the video even more viral is that it directly challenges the long-standing belief that Tupac's funeral was intentionally hidden, private, and shielded from cameras. For decades, fans heard the story that the cremation happened quickly, that the body wasn't viewed publicly, that the casket was closed, and that only a small circle had access. Suddenly, the internet is staring at footage that appears to contradict every part of that narrative.
We did 6 nights, and the 6 nights I was there were death threats, undercover FBI agents, a police force that did not want to cooperate.
What's fueling the fire even more is the mystery surrounding who recorded the video. No watermark, no timestamp, no clue if it's authentic, staged, manipulated, or old footage resurfacing for attention. Yet the reaction is immediate and explosive.
It was that day, a couple of weeks before Vegas, that he fired David Kenner and his legal team. And I believe he fired Reggie Wright and Right Way either the same day or the day after. And it was obvious. He was ready. Pac was ready to fly the...
Hip-hop pages posting breakdowns, OG fans revisiting old interviews, and younger fans discovering layers of the story they never knew. Tupac's legacy has always been larger than music. It's cultural, political, emotional, and symbolic. So any new piece of footage hits deeper than a simple leak. It becomes part of a massive, never-ending puzzle where every detail feels world-changing. And let's be honest, the timing matters. It didn't surface in 1996, 2006, or 2016. It surfaced now in an era where deep fakes, AI reconstruction, and high-resolution editing tools exist at everyone's fingertips. That makes the conversation even more chaotic. Some say the footage is the missing piece proving the funeral truly happened. Others argue it's a digital recreation. Then there's a third group claiming this footage finally confirms why so much secrecy existed around Tupac's death in the first place. The culture is now locked into debate the same way it was the night news stations first announced that 25-year-old Tupac Shakur died in Las Vegas after a week in critical condition. This new footage isn't just a leak, it's a cultural explosion. It's reopening conversations that were buried, ignored, or dismissed years ago. And whether real or fake, the impact is undeniable. Hip-hop is talking about Tupac again like it's 1996. This is only the beginning. Because what fans found inside the footage is where things get even more intense. When viewers began breaking down the footage frame by frame, they noticed details that sent shockwaves across the internet. The first thing people spotted was the facial structure. The chin, the cheekbones, and the jawline that matched countless photos of Tupac during his last year alive. But the moment that truly shook everyone was when viewers claimed to see a faint outline of the Machiavelli tattoo, partially visible beneath the lighting. That alone sent comment sections into full meltdown because the tattoo has always been a defining part of Tupac's identity in any conversation about authenticity. But what really magnified the controversy is the position of the body in the casket. People pointed out that Tupac always had a distinct physical stature, broad shoulders, athletic arms, and a unique posture. The figure in the clip seems to match that build almost perfectly. It looked too accurate, too specific, too familiar. That's what caused so many fans to say, this can't be staged, this can't be random, this has to be real. Then came the clothing. Sources for years claimed the funeral outfit was simple and respectful. The figure in the leaked video appears to be wearing something similar: dark fabric, minimal design, and a style that fits the era. Everything in the footage lines up a little too cleanly with long-standing rumors. And that's where the new theories began forming. Not the wild conspiracies, but the logical ones. People started asking why Tupac's funeral was so private to begin with. Why were there no official photos released? Why were details about the service always vague and lightly documented? Why did the family avoid media coverage so aggressively during that time? Suddenly, the secrecy wasn't just a footnote. It became the centerpiece of the conversation. Documentarians, bloggers, and hip-hop historians jumped in. They reminded everyone that Tupac's funeral situation has always been blurry. Alleged cremation timelines were questioned, funeral home employees gave conflicting statements, even Suge Knight's past interviews added layers of confusion. For decades, it has been a maze of incomplete answers and contradictions. Now, with this footage, fans felt like they were seeing something that should have been impossible. And that's why the internet is treating this clip like a cultural bombshell. It's about the emotional impact of finally seeing something that answers a question people have been asking for nearly 30 years. Whether real or not, it gives shape to a moment hip-hop never got to witness. It humanizes the loss. It grounds the legend. It reminds the world that Tupac wasn't just a myth or a symbol. He was a real person with a real body, a real funeral, and a real ending that the world never fully processed. But the viral spread of the footage triggered something even bigger, an investigation into where the video came from and how it stayed hidden for decades. And that trail leads to the next chapter of this story, where the mystery gets even deeper. Once the video spread globally, internet detectives went to work. They wanted answers, not guesses, not rumors, not interpretations, but real information about how the footage appeared out of nowhere. And what they discovered turned the situation into a full-blown cultural mystery. The earliest upload was traced to an account with no profile picture, no followers, no history, and no linked identity. The username was a random combination of letters and numbers, like something generated by a burner system. Within minutes of posting the clip, the account vanished. Deleted, gone, no trace. That alone was suspicious, but the deeper researchers dug, the stranger things became. The background of the footage didn't match any known public funeral home interior. The walls, lighting fixtures, and furniture style suggested a mid-90s setting, consistent with Tupac's era, but not consistent with any modern reconstruction. This sparked a theory. Whoever filmed this must have been inside one of the private rooms used during the actual service. People began pulling up old interviews from staff members who worked in funeral services during the 90s, trying to match architectural designs and interior layouts. Some pieces lined up eerily well. Then came the metadata analysis. Tech experts tried extracting digital information from re-uploads to estimate the age of the original recording. Although the footage had been compressed through multiple uploads, frames were identified that suggested it came from a VHS to digital transfer, not an AI creation. That alone refueled the belief that the footage might actually be authentic. But it gets deeper. Hip-hop insiders began speaking out. Anonymous industry voices claimed this wasn't the first time footage like this existed, only the first time the public got a glimpse. Rumors of tapes, archived recordings, secret photos, and stored materials surrounding Tupac's final days have existed for decades. Families, record labels, security personnel, and close affiliates all played a role in guarding certain parts of the story, not out of conspiracy, but out of respect and privacy. Tupac's death wasn't just a celebrity loss. It was traumatic, painful, controversial. And nobody wanted the world turning his final moments into entertainment. So imagine the impact when footage surfaces without permission, explanation, or context. Imagine how jarring it is for people who lived through that era to suddenly see something that was supposed to stay private forever. That emotional shock is why the debate is so explosive. It doesn't matter if the footage is confirmed or debunked. The fact that it exists at all changes the cultural dynamic around Tupac's story. And that's why this scandal is bigger than a clip. It's about the secrecy surrounding one of hip-hop's most painful tragedies being cracked open without warning. And the more the footage circulates, the more details people discover. Details that raise even more questions. Because what viewers notice next, that's the part nobody expected. As the community continued dissecting the footage, one detail completely shifted the conversation: the state of the body. Long-standing reports from 1996 described Tupac's injuries, the autopsy, and the impact of the shooting. Yet the figure in the video didn't display obvious physical trauma from a multiple-shot incident. Some viewers argued the angle and lighting made it impossible to see everything. Others argued embalming and preparation processes can drastically change visible injuries. But a third group insisted this detail created even more confusion. Because if the body showed minimal physical damage, what did that mean? Was it the lighting? Was it makeup? Was it the camera quality? Or was something else happening that changes the way the public has understood Tupac's final condition? Experts in funeral services weighed in. They explained how bodies are prepared for private viewings and how certain injuries can be concealed depending on the techniques used. Their explanations made sense and lined up with practices from the 90s. But the uncertainty made the footage more mysterious. It wasn't simply a clear, undeniable visual. It was something fans had to interpret. And interpretation always sparks debate. Then people noticed something else: the background audio. Even though the video is mostly silent, one re-upload contained extremely faint background noise that sounded like soft chatter or movement. This sparked a debate over whether multiple people were present during the recording. Some argued the noise was compression artifact, distortion from digital conversions. Others said it clearly sounded like real human voices in the room. Again, no definitive answers. And that's the theme of this entire situation. Every single detail creates two new possibilities. Next, someone slowed down the footage and pointed out a reflection on the metal frame of the casket, what looked like the silhouette of a person holding the camera. That silhouette didn't resemble a modern phone posture. It resembled someone holding a camcorder, the kind used in the mid-90s. That observation made everything even crazier. If the footage was indeed filmed with a 90s-style camcorder, then whoever recorded this was present during Tupac's actual funeral proceedings. Not a fan, not a random person, someone with access, a staff member, a family-linked individual, or someone working security. The emotional impact of this revelation hit fans differently. Some felt disturbed that someone secretly filmed a private moment. Others felt like this footage was historical documentation that should have surfaced years ago. Some said it validated long-held beliefs about secrecy surrounding Tupac's death. Others said it was disrespectful to release without consent. No matter the viewpoint, one thing was undeniable: this leak reopened wounds. Tupac's death is tied deeply to hip-hop's identity. Seeing footage that was never meant for the public forces the world to confront emotions that were buried for decades. And the story only gets even more intense when looking at the reaction from people connected to the legacy. Now, as the dust settles, the world is facing one undeniable truth. Whether the footage is real, altered, or misinterpreted, its impact is permanent. Tupac was already one of the most analyzed, discussed, and mythologized figures in music history. But this footage adds a new layer to his story, one that forces the culture to confront what was hidden, ignored, or misunderstood for decades. For older fans who lived through Tupac's era, the footage is painful. It brings back the grief they felt in 1996, reopening emotions they buried years ago. For younger fans, it's shocking, a reminder that the legend wasn't invincible, wasn't immortal, and wasn't just a symbol. He was a real man whose life ended violently, abruptly, and far too soon. But beyond the emotion, there's something deeper happening. This footage has made people revisit Tupac's message. His interviews about oppression, his warnings about corruption, his passion for fighting systemic injustice, his belief in speaking truth regardless of consequences. Suddenly, the world is replaying his words with renewed intensity. It feels like Tupac is speaking again, not through music releases, but through cultural attention. And that's the irony. A leaked video intended to expose a private moment ended up amplifying Tupac's public voice once more. The biggest shift is happening within the hip-hop community itself. Rappers, producers, and cultural leaders are calling for respect, transparency, and preservation of history. They're saying Black icons deserve dignity, even decades after their deaths. They're saying the culture needs to treat its legends with more care. They're saying Tupac's story is sacred, not content for clicks. Some want the footage taken down permanently. Some want it archived for historical accuracy. Some want it fully investigated to determine its authenticity. Regardless of opinion, everyone agrees on one thing. Tupac remains one of the most powerful figures hip-hop has ever produced, and this footage proves the world still isn't done searching for answers about him. In the end, this controversy changes everything. Not because it solves the mystery, but because it reopens it. Tupac's legacy is alive, evolving, and commanding global attention nearly 30 years after his death. No other artist in history holds that kind of influence. Whether this footage is real or fake, respectful or disturbing, accurate or manipulated, one thing is certain. It has reignited a global conversation about one of the greatest voices to ever touch a mic. Tupac's impact stretches far beyond a body, a funeral, a clip, or a rumor. His legacy is immortal, his voice is eternal. And this footage, no matter the truth behind it, proves the world will never stop searching for pieces of Tupac, because Tupac represents something bigger than music. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into stories that shape the culture.